Hi, this is Einstein speaking from Albert Einstein, of course, speaking from the dimensions through this interdimensional portal. And I am here to explain to you and share with you my experiences on Earth and how I experience myself in the dimensions. And yes, so it is quite a realization, I suppose, for many beings on Earth here to see and hear me, Albert Einstein, speaking through this interdimensional portal and realizing that I do exist still, yet not in a physical manifested form. So what I found fascinating is my experience on Earth being one of the greatest minds in existence. I suppose there was many more, but yet I was one of the forerunners, one of the beings that have prepared the way before many others. And I've got mostly what I am about to share with you is of my experiences in the dimensions and what I became aware of, who I was here on Earth. And a fascinating thing, or a fascinating experience to consider, is the following. What I asked myself when I got to the dimensions, of course, is that you have great minds, but you have also only so few, or even a select few in this world. And the moment I died, I kind of asked myself that question, but why? Why is it that there's only a few human beings on Earth that has specific talents? For instance, myself, having such a profound and great mind, to have the ability to had the ability to discover what I had, to have the ability to do what I had done. And it's strange because, you kind of have then a whole conflicting polarity competition existing in this world, because you have beings who have extraordinary abilities such as myself, and then you have those that apparently aren't good enough to achieve or be able to do or to be able to attain to what I had been able to do. And why does this world work this way? And then you have the beings who are apparently not able to do what I've done, feeling inferior, believing themselves to be unworthy, believing themselves to be not good enough. I mean, the list goes on. And I wondered why the entire world is not able to have done what I did. That why the entire world couldn't have such a great mind, or those questions came forth in terms of the insight that had occurred within me while I was in the dimensions after I died. And upon asking those questions, I started moving throughout humanity, now me in a spirit form, and what I discovered was extraordinary, and what I discovered was frightening, and what I discovered was interesting. What I noticed is that human beings are slaves. That human beings were slaves and still are slaves. And this is a profound statement, I'm sure, for many, because, that which you don't see, you might fear. That which you don't see, you might not even take into consideration in your world because it apparently doesn't touch you. But this that I'm about to explain touches each and every single person in this world. And I'm not here to speak about who I was on Earth, because that was also part of a system. And I was a system on Earth, and a system that was designed before birth already to become who I was. And that's not who I am, and that is not who each human being is. They're not that which they are at this moment, because that which each human being are at this moment is a system. And what I discovered and explored on Earth, specifically in terms of equations and mathematics, is, imagine a sand grain in all of existence. That's about the refraction of mathematics that I entered. And even the great mathematicians of the world and the great minds of the world at this moment is but accessing a sand grain compared to existence of what mathematics really stand as, what mathematics consist of. because it's fascinating. The systems that are inside people. Now, first let me explain what systems are and what I mean by the term systems, and how systems are connected to human beings that are enslaved. Is that there were these dimensional beings that were called the creators, and they decided to enslave humanity. Now, understand that these systems that are placed inside human beings are interdimensional systems, and they are called or referred to as consciousness systems. Now, these systems consist of your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your unconscious mind. That which generates your thoughts, that which generates your feelings, and that which generates your emotions. That which completes the entire package of what you would refer to and define as your personality. That is a system. So, what I am saying is that each human being, from that perspective of having a conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind, having thoughts, experiencing emotions and feelings, are derivative experiences and manifestations of expressions of systems. It is not who you are. It is not that life essence which is expressive and comes forth actually only when you die. Because what dies is a system. Your physical body at this very moment contains that system, which is locked into the subconscious, and unconscious mind, generating emotions and feelings and charging your thoughts. If you think, you are a system. If you experience emotions and feelings, you are a system. That is consciousness designed systems from interdimensional beings who enslaved humanity. And that is what I was as well on earth. When I was born, now this information I gathered from when I died. I looked at my birth, I looked at my life, and I realized that I was no different to any other human being, except that my mind system was differently designed. My system was designed to become that which I had become, was designed to have been able to do and apply what I had done and applied, was able to discover and explore specifically what I discovered and explored. So, in terms of my life here on earth, it was but a stepping stone, to a certain extent, of what mathematics, equations, specifically in that field of what I had presented to this world, is really but a refraction of the understanding of what it actually really is that we're composed of, what it actually is that we exist as. These systems that has been manifested within human beings already at birth is mathematical equations, consist of numerical foundations. In other words, this whole world, the universe, existence, foundation, from the perspective of systems, of consciousness systems, that which exists inside human beings interdimensionally, is of numerical mathematical equations. And it's fascinating because, you know, you'd apply mathematics to a certain extent in most of the universe and existence, and I'm certain there are many great minds that have already discovered that, but that is but only literally the tip of the iceberg. In terms of the extraordinary nature of mathematics, of numbers, of equations, and of symbols, everything come together to build the foundation of the systems that are inside human beings, that they believe who they really are, and that is actually powering and generating and moving this world. There is the mathematics I'm experiencing, or the equations, the numbers, the formations, the symbols, everything coming together as one. I'm able to see in the dimensions, and it is far and beyond any human being's mind, because a mind is not able to perceive or even conceive what exists in the dimensions. I mean, I'm not saying the dimensions are separate from here, yet I'm saying that the dimensions have access to quantum time, have access to quantum realization, and have access to quantum seeing. In other words, I'm able to see in one moment the equations, the answers, the numbers, the symbols, everything in one moment of all of existence. And I mean, that's amazing, but also scary, because then you start thinking, but or start looking at the realization, but am I just a mathematical equation? Am I just numbers? Am I just symbols? And am I a slave to this movement of programmed equations? Because that's basically what systems are. They're programmed. And what do you use in systems to program systems? You use equations, you use numbers, you use symbols. Therefore, it is fascinating that human beings are no different than computers. We've built a presentation of ourselves in this world in the form of a computer. And human beings are no different than that. And then you ask the question, okay, so if I'm related and specifically equated to a computer, then who programmed me? Because a computer and programs on a computer requires programming. The chips require designing. It requires a designer, it requires a programmer, basically it requires a creator. So then you start asking, but who created me? Who created this expression of myself, who I perceive myself to be? Is this really me? Is this who I am? Or am I merely following a programmed setup, a program that have been placed inside me at birth? And that's what I realized. I realized that my life here on earth was no different than a program. It was no different than a program that had been, that had programs running inside it. And that's what these systems are inside human beings. They're systems that have the ability to be programmed. And human beings have been programmed for aeons of time. And you know, it's quite an astounding thought, you know. It's quite an astounding realization if you really have a look at, but Jesus, you know, Jesus Christ, am I like really a computer program? My body is the vehicle, is the computer, and my mind is a program that's running the whole time. And those thoughts and those emotions and those feelings are basically the power source where you plug the computer in. And that's basically it. That's basically really it. That's what human beings are. They're just like computers. We've manifested ourselves in the form of a computer in today's world. And the creators of ourselves would be those interdimensional beings who have decided to enslave humanity. And that's a realization I've been, well, Jesus, the realization sounds rather, spiritually, religionally. It's not that. It's the truth. I mean, that's what's going on in this world. Human beings are computers. And you are that computer, and you are that computer program that's on the computer. If your thoughts are running, if your emotions are running, and your feelings are running, and you're part of this entire system, which is the world and humanity, and everyone supporting each other and remaining as these computer systems with programs running inside them. Human beings are no different. It's really, you are like computers walking around, and there's programs programmed into you, and you're living your life according to that, to your programmed life, to your programmed experience, and to your programmed insets that's been placed into you at birth. I mean, and that's quite astounding to realize that who you are is not you, that what you're experiencing is not you that's experiencing it. What you're experiencing is pre-programmed. What you've become is pre-programmed. Everything was already done for you when you were born. I mean, how do you work with that? How do you assist yourself through realizing that, you know, just imagine that everything you are now is a lie, that everything you are now is not true, that everything you are now has been pre-programmed by something else for you to become its slave, to be controlled. I mean, that's quite an horrendous realization. And you know, that's what I realized when I got to the dimensions after a time, and especially when computers started being developed more high-tech as they are now. Human beings are giving themselves the answers in this world through the building of computers. So I suppose this realization will probably be felt deep in some beings who really start realizing and looking at your life and thinking, you know, is anything that is here and that I'm experiencing true? You know, is this what I'm feeling me? Is this what I'm thinking me? No, it's not. I'm able to say that to you with certainty. And there are many beings going to be coming through that will give you some perspective, some assistance. You know, if you don't want to experience yourself as a pre-programmed computed robot, is that's what human beings have become. And you know, the mathematics that you're currently doing is child's play. Even myself, when I was here, it's nothing compared to the mathematical numerical equations that exist in this in all of existence. And yeah, that's about what I have to say. You know, I'm quite a boring person, I suppose, to listen to. Well, not boring, but you know, just maybe take that into consideration. Maybe just look at, if you really would have now discovered the truth like I did from the dimensions, and you know, I wouldn't prefer for you to have to first die and find that you still exist, and that you that died wasn't really you, that you were really a pre-programmed system, and you were believing that these thoughts and these feelings and emotions that was running inside you was you, when instead it was a system that was programmed, and you believed it to be you. I mean, that is quite a explosive realization. So, that's what I have to say, and that's all I have to say at the moment. So this is Albert Einstein, and I am checking out.